Hello and welcome to the Gfinity Arena for the final F2 virtual race. Now, the reason being, real-life racing is returning in a matter of weeks. But do not worry, our grand final promises to be spectacular as we head to the close confines of the Baku street circuit in Azerbaijan. So, without further ado, so glad you could join us. Let's pass over to the commentators for tonight. It's Matt Gallagher and Alex Jakes.
Thank you very much, Tom. It is an incredible location, this Baku city circuit, and I'm really looking forward to the event that we're about to put on for you. Matt, what stands out for you about this Baku location?
Well, good. It's got to be the straight. The straight is so long, promotes amazing racing. We've seen some incredible F1 and F2 races in real life, and it's amazing that we're finally going to get some on-track action in a matter of weeks. But for me, yeah, the straight, and to be fair, it's just a very unique location, as you say. It's not really one that you'd see on the calendar as a normal racing circuit. There's lots of 90-degree corners, and hopefully, if the drivers can continue and not kind of fall out of the dirty air and all of that good stuff, we'll see some great action into turn one especially.
Looking forward to that immensely. Time to run you through the format then for the event that we have ahead of us. We've got single lap qualification coming up in a few moments' time, and then a 15-lap feature race where you have to make one pit stop. The sprint race, 5 laps coming up directly afterwards, with top 8 reversed on the grid from their feature race results. So it is possible to rescue your event if you have that chance with the second sprint race. So you've got to get the job done in the feature race to get that reverse grid. Let's have a look at the grid then that we have competing today, with some new names for us to get stuck into. Who catches your eye here, Matt?
Well, I mean, there's quite a few that are still very much near the front of the field. Jack Aitken, I'd love to see him actually have a really good performance, because he's been there or thereabouts. I think he was running P3 in Bahrain, and I'd like to see him maybe get towards the front of the field here around Baku.
Also in there, you've got Dan Ticktum and Sean Galeo. They're the real drivers for Dams in this year's Formula 2 Championship. Jack Aitken will be hoping for a championship run himself in the real thing that gets going in Austria. As we move to the second page, Teo Paul-Chair will be one to check in with, and Univirtuosi, another team there running their full driver lineup for this 2020 championship, for this virtual race. Who's caught your eye on the second page there, Matt?
Well, I've kind of gone for guys I'd like to see do a little bit better than maybe they have. Obviously, Jack Aitken on the first page, another one, Callum Ilott. They've both got really decent amount of sim skills, and I'd like to see them potentially snatch a podium. Obviously, Jack Aitken, he's won in F2 around Baku here in real life. Can Callum Ilott do the same virtually today? Let's find out.
And Larim Zendeli in there is a driver to keep your eye out on as well. Had a good run in Monaco, has been impressive in Spain, so it'd be interesting to see if he can keep that form up around a circuit where there are good overtaking opportunities, but there's a lot to contend with the barriers very close for the rest of the lap. Qualifying not too far away then. Matt, I'm going to go for a big and bold prediction from you. Who are you tipping for pole?
Oh, goodness me, on the spot. It's hard to look past the likes of Arthur Leclerc, Larim Zendeli, very quick, as you say. Ollie Caldwell, we're going to have a look at as well. His simulator setup, very chilled. Look at him. I don't think that's how he's supposed to press the pedals with his knees up like that. But, yeah, very rigid setup, it has to be said. I think that would survive an earthquake, Alex.
So that's Ollie Caldwell, who is racing for Trident today. And he is getting set for one-shot qualifying. And here's Louis Delatraz, a winner of the race in Monaco a couple of weeks ago. He will be hoping to take that form experienced at this level. And you can see he's in his trophy room there, back home and ready to compete. And they're all looking nice and relaxed. They're all looking rather chilled at this stage of proceedings.
It's the final race, and they're all very relaxed, having a little swig of his drink. And it's a pretty cool place to have his simulator set up in a trophy room. If there's ever a place for him to gain a bit more motivation towards the end of a sim race, it's within there. Just have a little look around, see how good you are in real life racing. And I'm very intrigued to see who will come out on top in this final race. It's flown by already, isn't it?
It really has. So let's get stuck into the 20-turn circuit. Matt, where can you make the difference as a driver? I know you've been racing around it, at least virtually, in the last couple of days. Where stands out for you as a place the driver can make a difference, as we check in with some of the other drivers as well?
Yeah, it's a difficult one. You just have to kind of maintain... Oh, goodness me, that's Correa who's...
Correa.
We'll get back to the track in a second.
No.
What a lovely little teammate Juan Manuel Correa has currently. Do you reckon maybe we'll do the pedals? The dog? Or?
The dog will do the pedals. JM will take the steering wheel, and he's a driver who showed terrific form last time out at Monaco to over the line in first.
There, wasn't it? It was
and then got the penalty. But it's great to have JM with us, and well, that is a pretty decent mascot to have there. So he is waiting for the qualifying to begin. We were talking about the track before we checked in with Jen.
I love dogs, so now I'm completely and utterly cast away. But
where are you going to make the difference, Matt?
Where are you going to make the difference? I think, yeah, as I say, you've got to be consistent. You've got to keep it out the walls, because that castle section in the middle sector, my goodness me, that is where it's going to be race ending if you hit the wall too hard. And you could even if with no damage, you could just be spun round, and that's your race pretty much done. We could see a car park into there if there is any kind of crash. But making the difference, I think the last few corners onto that massively long back straight, that's where we're going to see the majority of overtakes. And we have potato cam, it looks like.
Yeah, whatever the opposite of HD is, I think we're looking at it. That's Teo Pourchaire, who's going to be running in the ART in a few moments' time. But you can see the expressions are hardening. They're ready to get into the zone and ready to hit one lap qualification for this final round.
Has his helmets in the background as well again.
Yep.
Not sure if he's added to that collection.
I think he has. I think there are more there.
But he is not wearing one, which is very crucial. It would get very hot indeed. And there's Juan Carrera again. Oh, where's the dog gone?
Well, you see, they're getting in the zone now. They're getting in the zone.
I think with the dog, you get an extra 2/10, personally. But yeah, it looks like they're not on the track just yet. As you can see, he's not holding his steering wheel. But Juan Manuel Correa, as you say, amazing round Monaco. It was heartbreak to get that penalty right at the end of the race. I'd love to see him back up there again in Baku, because again, it's a street circuit, isn't it, Alex? So you shouldn't expect the pace to be too much different.
Not at all. Checking in with Ben Viscal, who is racing for the MP Motorsport team. Remember, they get one chance at qualifying. So they're all out there. This is Guan Yu Zhou, already a race winner at the Virtual Grand Prix earlier this year in Bahrain, and also in slightly controversial circumstances, you have to say, in Spain when he spun round Arthur Leclerc, who has been the guy to beat all the way through. We've seen some exceptional performances all the way through, but he has been consistent. He's always been at the front. So Guan Yu Zhou, just a good balance on this game. As he nearly puts it in the wall, right on cue, the commentator's curse. But he's making his way through turns 5 and 6 as they leave the traditional block setup, and you've got the track coming the other way on the other side of the wall. This is a fiddly corner down into 7, and then it gets a little bit single file. Oh, we're going to see anyone clobbering that wall. I think it's almost guaranteed. And then back out, the track opens up now, and it begins to be incredibly high speed. They're all on their one-shot qualifying right now.
Yeah, as you say, one shot, and the leaderboard on that left-hand side is most likely the real time. So right now, Piastri is doing a fantastic job just ahead of Zendelli, but that can change within a matter of tenths. One mistake and you'll see drivers fly up or down the classification. But here we are, Guan Yu Zhou, pretty much no real concentration required, although in the F2 cars there's less downforce, so it's not exactly a straight, but now it definitely is. As he comes towards the line, it looks like he's in P8 at the moment, with Piastri potentially taking provisional pole.
So over the line, Guan Yu Zhou, the podium finisher in the real thing. And where can he go? He can improve at the end there to go up to 7th, but it's Oscar Piastri who has set the fastest time ahead of Larim Zendelli, who does indeed continue that form. We've got a newcomer in 3rd with Matteo Nannini.
Arthur Leclerc disqualified.
Oh, along with Victor Martins, along with Louis Delatraz. And we're on board with the 7th place driver, Guan Yu Zhou's single lap around the Baku City circuit, all 3.7 miles of it. Good enough for 7th, but it's Oscar Piastri who did a phenomenal job to beat Larim Zendelli. Those are the two drivers on the front row. So 2 young guns taking their opportunity, but what a lap from the Australian driver there. 19 years of age, coming in and getting his opportunity, making the most of it. He's the driver to beat as we go into that feature race. So that's let's confirm the grid there. I mentioned Oscar Piastri. You can see no penalties being applied there. Larim Zendelli on the 2nd row, and then Matteo Nannini alongside Enzo Fittipaldi, and then Jack Aitken, and on all British row 3 next to Callum Ilott. Any surprises for you there, Matt?
Not surprises, but I was going to say Jack Aitken and Callum Ilott clearly listening to me before they went out for the one-shot quali, doing a very decent job in P5 and 6. Joe, a little bit disappointing, you have to say, a 52.1, 1.6 seconds off pole position, but that just shows around this Baku City circuit, you have to absolutely nail it in one-shot qualifying, otherwise you can find yourself 2, 3, 4 seconds off the pace, or if you're Arthur Leclerc, you're not setting a lap time at all, and you're at the back for this 15-lap feature race, which is going to be extremely difficult. It's not where you want to be starting.
But if there was a track where you can bail yourself out of a bad qualifying, this is the one. A hugely flat to the floor section from turn 16 all the way down to turn number 1. It is an always entertaining circuit, and we are just a few moments away with the lights coming on. Time for the feature race then. 5 lights on, they go out very quickly indeed. Piastri leads away from pole position. Zendelli maintains second, and slotting into 3rd position. Slightly deep goes Zendelli. He'll make the corner. Jack Aitken improves the position up to 4th place. Are they all able to get through turn 1? The answer very clearly no in the background. Heading backwards down there. Victor Martins heading in the wrong direction, and Paul Aaron heading backwards as well. Jack Aitken making progress though. Gets himself up to 3rd. It's Piastri, then Zendelli. Aitken up to 3rd at a track that he won at last year. He's been sent to the wall. He's not the only one. Callum Ilott in the wall in the background and plunging down the order. Still Jack Aitken is able to maintain 4th position, but he was looking good for 3rd there. It's Oscar Piastri with the lead on lap number 1.
Yeah, good start from Jack Aitken, but very elbows out from Matteo Nannini, who then takes P3 away from Jack Aitken, who we're currently looking at now. We're having a look at Larim Zendelli just behind Oscar Piastri. Dan Ticktum gets a 3-second time penalty already on lap 1 for corner cutting. You have to be very, very careful around this track, especially into the castle section. And, slapping the left rear on the wall is just about as much as you're going to get away with. But have a look at Arthur Leclerc, up to P9 already. The man, whenever he gets a terrible qualifying, flies through the field. I think, well, if there was another race, of course we have a reverse grid race, but if there was another location, I'd love to just ride on board with Arthur Leclerc when he has a terrible qualifying. But up to P8 now as he gets ahead of Guan Yu Zhou. So those two, I imagine that battle's probably not over just yet.
Certainly looking for more. We're on board with Enzo Fittipaldi, part of the Ferrari Young Driver Academy. He has Jack Aitken directly ahead. He will be hoping to just stay within that slipstream, all flat to the floor, as they go through the sweeps that complete the lap, and then past the hotels on the left-hand side. Can he get close enough? Not with the use of DRS at this stage, though. 1.3 second advantage. Good tow for the HWA driver. Not enough to make the move, though. And he will have to stay there for the moment. But Aitken was deep. Does that open the door for Enzo Fittipaldi? Indeed it does. And if he can get his braking right, Aitken's going to tough it out around there. And he's managed to go side by side through 2 of the corners now inside line, belonging to the HWA. The pink car is surely going to out-drag Jack Aitken for 5th place. And is it going to be 4th? They've been racing side by side for a while, but it is resolved in the favour of Enzo Fittipaldi, who improves up to P4.
Jack went very defensive into turn 1 and then just outbraked himself ever so slightly, which allowed Enzo Fittipaldi to get through. Arthur Leclerc and Guan Yu Zhou battling for position. I think Zhou got through into turn 1, but Leclerc gets back again into P7. Pourchaire just ahead, but then there's a 5-second gap to Jack Aitken in P5. So these guys are clearly just tripping over each other at the moment, which is what Baku is. You have to pretty much go single file through that middle sector. And as you can see right now, Arthur Leclerc is trying to pretty much go against what I've just said and get past into a corner that is absolutely not an overtaking spot, as is the castle section. Oh, big crash!
There's problems in the background. We've got multiple cars involved. 5-second penalty for Guan Yu Zhou for colliding with Roberto Merri. And have they managed to carry on through the middle section there, because you can very easily get a block track at turn number 8, where it is, of course, the thinnest section of the F2 calendar there. Everyone continuing on their way, so we're focusing right now on Arthur Leclerc, getting in the wheel tracks of Théo Pourchaire, driver who will be competing for ART in Formula 3 this year. Arthur Leclerc will be taking part in Formula Regional for the Prema team that he's driving with in Virtual Formula 2 at the moment. Looks to be an easy move at the moment. DRS will be enabled, and he's got the inside line. He just has to pick out the correct braking point and that is really nicely done. Makes it look so simple, and no opportunity for Paul Chair to fight back.
Yeah, I don't think he had DRS that time, so
No.
we've just come on to lap 3. But yeah, as you said, the slipstream itself is powerful enough to get the move done. So Arthur Leclerc now has 5.4 seconds to Jack Aitken, but I think he's going to be looking in his mirrors to Théo Pourchaire. Quickly having a look at Oscar Piastri. Where has he been this entire F2 virtual racing series that we've been having? He's 2.7 seconds
I think
ahead of
practicing
everybody
is the
else.
answer.
Yeah.
Because
He said, I'm going to do Baku
Yeah.
in 5 weeks' time.
I'm
Let
going
me
to go out in
practice.
style and dominate. It is faultless at the moment, but this is a circuit that can bite back at any time. And 2.6 seconds, though, absolutely superb. We're right on board where you need complete confidence to be driving the way that he is right now, and he is extending that gap. Théo Pourchaire was able to come back with DRS and get past Arthur Leclerc. Arthur Leclerc able to respond later in the lap. So that battle continuing. We're on board with Théo Pourchaire, who has not been able, so I think he had a good run on the way down to turn 3, but Leclerc has been able to stay ahead after they go to the final section of the lap. The two teammates, Juan Manuel Correa and Louis Delatraz, both fighting at the front last time out at Monaco, both further down the order today as they plunge back down the hill, basically at sea level at this point. And it always makes for an extremely windy pit straight. Now checking in on Enzo Fittipaldi with a lot of pace right now. He's closed down the gap. He's got past Aitken in the orange Campos. He's now closing down the blue Carlin of Matteo Nannini. Can he make the move? He's forcing the defense. He's got the DRS this time. Trying to sweep around the outside. Putting a lot of faith in the driver on the inside if you do that, but he's managed to pull ahead momentarily. Doesn't have the advantageous line, though. Will that be deep for Nannini? Another debutant going very well today. Still, they go side by side.
Oh, Nannini gets DRS, though, crucially.
So is he going to be able to fight back? Has to tuck inside with the advantage of DRS. Going to try and go around the outside. And it's going to be tight. Oh, he swept round brilliantly there. And Enzo Fittipaldi will have to scratch his head, come back and give it another go. Nannini hangs on to P3 for the moment, but this battle's continuing. This is very, very tight. Easy to cut the corner here at this part and get a penalty, and Nannini really now not driving on a part of the racetrack where he'd want to be. We'll have to go defensive into 7 and no way through. We are into single file territory.
They're losing time hand over fist at the moment to Larim Zendelli, and Jack Aitken's about to join this fight for P3 if Matteo Nannini can hold on. But I imagine with how Enzo Fittipaldi is pretty much pushing him around the racetrack, it'll be a done deal going into turn 1 next time. But oh, that's a hell of a load of oversteer for Enzo Fittipaldi, lighting up the rear tyres, but still has enough grip and traction to stay within 2/10 of Matteo Nannini into another single file corner. Oh, where is it? Oh my goodness me, what a move up the inside. Surely now he doesn't really want to be ahead, though, because there's a huge straight coming along with slipstream and DRS available.
And I think he was cycling through that tactically, wasn't he? Waiting for the opportunity. All of this battling is bringing Jack Aitken back into play, the driver currently in 5th position, as they head on to the flat-out part of the circuit once again. Oscar Piastri begins lap 5, takes Larim Zendelli, who has come in very early, and Enzo Fittipaldi this time with a much better exit from turn 16, makes the use of DRS, doesn't want to mess around side by side, but he's gone deep to give an opportunity to Nannini, who just will not go away right now, and he is fighting around the outside. Is there room for them both to get through? Nice and fair. It's about to be a 3-car battle. Into the pits has come Larim Zendelli on lap 5 of 15. Enzo Fittipaldi up to P2, and Matteo Nannini in, well, he's battling for this 2nd position. Fittipaldi's going to hang on there.
Amazing battling between Fittipaldi and Nannini. It's crucial. Oh, Jack Aitken comes up the inside of the pair of them and takes second.
Sends one to the inside and makes it work. Wow.
Where did that come from?
What a late lunge that was from Jack Aitken, who loves it around here. Took his first Formula 2 win around this circuit and uses all of that experience to get past the battling pair. Enzo Fittipaldi will be fuming with that one.
Oh, and he gets a penalty as well, so that will add to his frustrations.
That is a nightmare. That is a nightmare couple of corners for him. He will have to regroup. He's got good pace. We've seen that from the last few laps. And Jack Aitken, opportunistic as you like, up to P2 with a yellow flag in Sector 1 and just a 10-second lead for Oscar Piastri right now. Incredible stuff.
So Zendelli's gone for the undercut, but crucially for Piastri, Zendelli is caught behind Inam Ahmed at the moment in P10 and 11. So I don't think Oscar Piastri's lead is really going to be attacked at the moment by Zendelli, who's just caught up behind Ahmed. And you have to kind of wait unless you're really going to go for a move like Jack Aitken did, which again I cannot believe he managed to pull that off. I don't know where he came from. How is that possible? I thought it was pretty much impossible to do one car overtake, but apparently Jack is an inspired man in this Azerbaijan race. But Fittipaldi, well, I thought he was going to go for the move, but he dives straight into the pits. Jack Aitken carries on.
As does the race leader. Oscar Piastri was the race leader when he came into the pits. He is
5-second penalty for Fittipaldi for speeding in the pit lane. So that's 8 seconds now.
That is such a shame considering his pace. So race leader in, Oscar Piastri has come in to make the mandatory stop along with Enzo Fittipaldi and Matteo Nannini, and then here comes Larim Zendelli, who pitted first before all of them, and he finds himself ahead of that battle, but still behind Oscar Piastri. So Oscar Piastri has protected himself from the undercut and maintains what will be the net race lead.
So Arthur Leclerc is now only 2 seconds behind Jack Aitken after all of that battling. So Arthur's very much put himself in the fight for P3. He's gone long, as has Jack Aitken, as we see Juan Manuel Correa and Bent Viskel having a little fight into that 90-degree left-hander. But Jack Aitken, Arthur Leclerc, they'll be fighting for P3 towards the end of this race, as these guys are all jostling for position in the midfield, which could get very interesting indeed. Oh, that's very deep into there, and goodness me, there's lots of contact. But fortunately for them, there's, well, it appears to be very minor damage, if anything.
The problem, oh, very, very close there. Nannini involved in that. Nannini did not need that at all. So these guys who have made their stop, coming across all of this chaos and trying to pick their way through without having a spin which could take them out of the battle for the podium. So frustration for Matteo Nannini and Enzo Fittipaldi there as they got involved in a battle that had been ongoing lap after lap after lap. So Théo Pourchaire, currently in 5th position, has yet to stop. Is this the lap for him? Interesting to see Jack Aitken and Arthur Leclerc going slightly longer. They're the current top 2. It's a long drag as we go on board. Jack Aitken deciding to come in, as does Arthur Leclerc as well. Victor Martins is going to do the same thing. This is Théo Pourchaire, the driver we're on board with. And Guan Yu Zhou goes into the race lead. Théo Pourchaire is the white and black car, trying to close down the yellow and black car ahead. And that is the battle for the drivers who have yet to stop. So it's Oscar Piastri ahead of Larim Zendelli. Jack Aitken is going to get passed by Enzo Fittipaldi, at least according to the graphic there. So Enzo Fittipaldi taking back that position.
Unfortunately for him, though, that 8 seconds is going to plummet him down the leaderboard. So Jack Aitken, whether he's aware of these penalties that Enzo Fittipaldi has accumulated, we do not know. But right now, Arthur Leclerc, as I mentioned earlier, has very much joined this fight. Nikita Mazepin, I'm not sure, I didn't actually look on the graphic as to whether he'd pitted or not. I imagine maybe not, but hey, there's been a lot of carnage in that midfield, as we saw just before a few pit stops. And I'm very intrigued to see why Théo Pourchaire's gone so late into his super soft stint, as Matteo Nannini has left the session, which is unfortunate for him. So that's why there's a ghosted car. The AI takes over, and hopefully he'll be able to rejoin the race very shortly, because he was in the fight for P3.
Yeah, provided us with a lot of entertainment today, hasn't he? So hopefully he will be able to rejoin in a few moments' time and battle with the other drivers that he's got directly ahead of him, and it could be for a major position as well. So hopefully that can be sorted. Right now, Enzo Fittipaldi making the strategy work, trying to sprint clear of Jack Aitken, who certainly sewn up the move of the race, unless we see something truly spectacular. Aitken right now, though, just thinking about keeping the Monegasque driver Arthur Leclerc directly behind him. Meanwhile, up top, this is Théo Pourchaire, who's yet to stop. Is he going to change that? I think he might be coming into the pits. Oscar Piastri is going to move up, and Guan Yu Zhou just staying out there, running long. So Piastri up to 2nd position, Zendelli up to 3rd, and so Fittipaldi will move up to 4th place when it all shakes out, you would expect. Hasn't happened at the moment. There we go, now it has. And that's Arthur Leclerc trying to go all the way around the outside of Jack Aitken, who won't like that at all, but he's pulled it off for the moment. Not only that, he's managed to defend, and that's a sweet move for the Monegasque driver. He is through, he is past, he is up to P5, and he already knows he's got to break the toe.
Oh, this is going to be very close indeed. Jack Aitken does have the DRS. Arthur Leclerc goes defensive on the inside, but then starts to squeeze towards the wall, and that could end in tears. I think Jack's going too quickly.
It will. Jack Aitken goes deep and trying to pull off another extraordinary overtake. It's all gone wrong for him. He's gone deep, and he's going to have to do what Daniel Ricciardo did a few years ago and reverse from the runoff at turn number 3. Aitken now plunging down the order, down to P9. So he risked it around the outside, and it did not pay off for him. Arthur Leclerc has P5 all to himself right now, with the race leader Guan Yu Zhou still to stop.
So that'll make Arthur Leclerc up to P3 when everything shakes out, with Enzo's penalty and Guan Yu Zhou going into the pits at some point, because he's on the medium tyres at the moment, which is a pretty clever strategy, it has to be said, with all of the incidents and overtakes and just basically tripping over each other that we've seen in the midfield. So I'm very intrigued to see where Guan Yu Zhou finishes at the end of these 15 laps, because he'll have the super soft tyres on for his final stint, which means he'll be very quick, but he has to pull off Jack Aitken-like overtakes if he wants to make this work, because he's going to really come out, I imagine, around Jack Aitken, Théo Pourchaire sort of territory. Potentially just ahead, depends how quick his pit stop is. As we see him come in the pits now.
Yeah, there's the race leader into the pits. So Guan Yu Zhou is going to tumble down the order. He's going to get the tyres to attack, but he has gone very deep into the 15-lap race. There you are.
Oh, he's got a penalty as well.
He has as well, which is why the team not immediately getting to work. So he has changed tyres, and now he can get back out and go on the attack. So he'll be doing that for the rest of the event as well, because we have the 5-lap sprint race to come after this, where we will be flipping the top 8 from this race to form the grid for race number 2. And I think we'll just see lots of impressions of Jack Aitken moves, lots of drivers sending it to the inside and not really caring what happens as they go on maximum attack for that second race of the event. Piastri with a 5.8 second lead over Larim Zendelli. Remember, it's a sizable penalty for Enzo Fittipaldi, so looking like another podium for Arthur Leclerc, who, a reminder for you, if you're just joining us for this, the final F2 virtual race of the year, that he is a 3-time winner in the races that we've run so far. Jack Aitken getting past Matteo Nannini's ghosted car, up to P6 after that excursion at turn 3.
Just looking further down the field, quite disappointing for Callum Ilott after he got caught up in that incident in the first couple of laps, which plummeted him all the way down to 18th position at the moment. So really not where his qualifying put him in P5 or P6, I think it was, alongside Jack Aitken. And Juan-Manuel Correa as well, down in P19. I think he was involved in a severe collision, as I saw a penalty come up, potentially with Callum Ilott, if my memory serves right, but down in P19 after leading Monaco. And unfortunately for him, it's not a complete reverse grid, otherwise he'd be starting on pole. But for him, he'll be starting P19 once again if he ends there, as we see what's coming up next, Alex.
Yeah, the F1 Esports Pro Exhibition race follows this one, and then we have the Virtual Grand Prix, the penultimate Virtual Grand Prix, coming your way at 6 p.m. BST. Lots of action all the way through, starting right about now with Théo Pourchaire trying to fend off Guan Yu Zhou on those softer tyres. And he's got the run, so it's not for the win that he would have been expecting to compete for. This was not one of Guan Yu Zhou's best circuits in his rookie season. His race ended in the wall just about there last year, but he can at least absolutely thrash that car round the 20 corners of Baku, and he's going to be banging into the wall there after a nice tap from Théo Pourchaire, and that's not what Guan Yu Zhou needs at all.
That was very rude from Pourchaire, but that is reverse grid pole for Guan Yu Zhou now, up into P8, and he's got Matteo Nannini in front of him, who I don't think has rejoined just yet, so that'll be P7 very quickly. So Pourchaire, he's going to have to get a move on and try and get back up to P8 if he wants pole for the reverse grid race. But Roberto Merri is very much in this fight as well in P10. So we've only got 2 people on the alternate strategy, Guan Yu Zhou and Ollie Caldwell on the super soft tyres. Where can Zhou get to? 3.4 seconds to Jack Aitken. I think that's doable with the sizable difference in the compounds, super soft to mediums.
Yeah.
So there is quite a bit of time difference between them. Let's see if Joe can close in, because I've said this before, Alex, you know, I think it was around Spain. I said, oh, look, you know, he's got 4 lap tyres, he's got 15, and there was no time difference at all. So there is talent involved as well. So let's see if Joe can get that on the track.
Yeah, yet to see a sizable step between the two compounds that has made a huge difference. He's judged that really nicely through that. I was just going to wait to see whether the 3-second corner cutting time penalty came up, paying him that compliment. But no, nicely judged at the moment for the Chinese driver. We'll be racing with this team in Austria when F2 restarts, along with Formula 3 as well. They will be at all the confirmed Formula 1 Grand Prix in that European leg of the championship. There's another 3-second time penalty for Dan Ticktum, who is running in 18th position. Still, Piastri with complete command of the race. It is a 7.3 second lead for him. Here is Roberto Merri, the driver with plenty of Formula 1 Grand Prix under his name, and now he's got P8 from Théo Pourchaire, at least he did for the moment. Dan Ticktum with another 3-second time penalty as these two battle it out round turn number 2, and Théo Pourchaire desperately wants to keep hold of reverse grid pole, but Roberto Merri in the Campos has the DRS, and this will be tough to fight. But we saw what happened to one Campos trying to go around the outside there. Roberto Merri, though, able to pull it off.
Sweet move. Absolutely spotted his breaking point, but he's still under pressure from Pourchaire, who's gone a little bit wide and tapped the wall. So that fight, I believe, may be over, as Roberto Merri now has reverse grid pole. And Théo Pourchaire tried his hardest, but unfortunately for him, could not keep the Campos driver behind. And, well, 3 seconds to Guan Yu Zhou, who is closing in now 1.8 seconds to his teammate Jack Aitken, so we could have a spicy fight for P6 very shortly. Everyone else in front looks very comfortable indeed. Arthur Leclerc 2.5 seconds behind Enzo. That's all he needs. He needs to stay within 8 seconds to get onto the podium. So that is an extremely good drive from Arthur Leclerc from the back of the grid. And we've already seen it before, and we see it again. We're not particularly surprised anymore, are we, Alex?
No, he is being consistently just right at the pace. It doesn't matter what sort of circuit it is. It doesn't matter if it's a street circuit like this one. It doesn't matter if it's the complete opposite of a venue like this, say the Circuit Barcelona Catalunya. He has been rapid all the way through. He's a driver who actually had to stop racing for a couple of years, but it will be interesting to see what he can do when the real racing resumes in a few months' time. It will be really interesting to see if he can climb the real racing ladder up to this level and emulate what his brother did back in 2017, a winner on these streets for Charles Leclerc. So fastest lap of the race from Guan Yu Zhou with that alternate strategy, going from the mediums to the super softs and having a really... This is the first time we've seen a massive difference between the compounds, and it is making a huge difference for Guan Yu Zhou, who is closing down the driver in 6th place. Remember, that gap was up around the 3-second mark a few laps ago, now under a second into DRS territory and gaining with every meter that he runs behind the orange Campos. He will close in, and given that it's a traction advantage, this is going to be a really tough one for 4-time F2 winner Jack Aitken to defend.
He's going to have to make his car as wide as possible, but when you look at that back straight, I don't think even 5 car widths would help him to defend from Guan Yu Zhou.
We tried that back in 2016.
But I think this is pretty much a done deal, but we don't know. We've seen many collisions, many impacts, many controversial incidents over the course of this F2 virtual racing series. Let's see if we see another one, including Joe, in fact, with Arthur Leclerc around Spain. But I think this one will be a little bit easier. As long as he keeps it on the black stuff, keeps it out of the wall, he should have a really good opportunity down towards turn 1. These next few corners as well, down into this downhill left-hander, which is so difficult on this game. This left-hander here is quite possibly one of the hardest corners in the game. It's just, you just have to hit the curb at exactly the right points that the car doesn't unsettle. And Guan Yu Zhou did a beautiful rendition of that right there. And Jack Aitken goes slightly wide on those less grippy tyres, the medium tyres, and this should be pretty straightforward for Guan Yu Zhou, because it's an absolute age down towards turn 1.
Flat to the floor, up through the gears, enormous speed. How defensive is Aitken going to go? Not very is the answer, because he knows that there's no real point, I think, trying to fight back, because I don't really think he's got the tyres to do so. So another pass for Guan Yu Zhou, making those super soft tyres work. We still have the super softs in Formula 2, even though they have disappeared from Formula 1. And he makes his way up the order, as we make our way up the order as well, to your Australian race leader, Oscar Piastri, in the car for the first time, but clearly been practicing, because this has been dominant stuff so far, and he's closing in on victory, 8.2 seconds, doing a really good impression of George Russell in Monaco, and just absolutely streaking away from everyone else. This has been a exemplary performance so far, but he's got to get to the end. We've seen some late heartbreak in these F2 virtual races. Still the sprint race to come, but I think with this sort of pace, Piastri will be thinking about doing what Antonio Giovinazzi did back at this level in 2016 and looking for the double.
I'm looking forward to seeing what Piastri can do in the reverse grid race. I know we've kind of almost just said that he's going to win this race at the moment, but that will be a commentator's curse, and he probably won't end up winning.
Don't do that to him, Matt.
He has 9 seconds in the bag, so even if he gets a cheeky little corner cut warning of 3 seconds, he still has 2 more that he could get if he really wanted to. So right now, very comfortable out in front is Oscar Piastri. I think we're going to have to put some weight on his car for the reverse grid, to be honest. But P8, I'm very excited, as I say, to see where he can really end up, because he will be, well, 3 positions behind Arthur Leclerc, who, again, will be one of the favourites to win.
Well, this is exactly why Formula 2 have this reverse grid. So it's one thing to qualify at the front, win the race, it all goes to plan in the pit stop, then it's about showing your overtaking ability. That's why it was originally brought in, not just for the entertainment factor, but to show the Formula 1 team's junior talent who can not only lead a race and disappear in the distance, like you see from Narim Zendelli there, but also to carve their way through the field. So it'll be interesting to see whether he can do that in a few moments' time. It's another corner-cutting penalty going the direction of Dan Ticktum.
Yeah, Dan Ticktum's going to have an early bath soon if he's not careful. I saw a 10-second. Oh, goodness me, that is another time penalty. I think we're getting near to half a minute for Dan Ticktum, so very surprised he hasn't been given the black flag just yet, but right now, clearly not having the greatest of time down in P19. Let's have a look at the rest of the grid then. So we've got Roberto Merhi and Jack Aitken teammates. They're going to be the front row. That'll be a very good looking front row for that team. Maybe they did that on purpose. Maybe Jack Aitken didn't really want to defend from Joe, just so he could be on the front row and give himself a very good opportunity of winning the 5-lap sprint race. Further down the field, Louis Delatraz says, oh, goodness me, Zendelli all out of shape into the castle section, gets away with it. But you can so easily face the wrong way after clipping the wall. And Zendelli, he loses a bit more time to Piastri, which makes Oscar's lead even more handsome, but he has enough in the bag, especially with Enzo Fittipaldi's penalty, to have P2 pretty much secured at the moment. Arthur Leclerc slowly but surely closing in on Enzo, but that battle is, well, not really worth it, and even more so now as a 5-second penalty comes in for Enzo Fittipaldi, which is going to drop him, I fear, potentially even out of the top 8. So Enzo's had a great race, but just clearly doesn't know where the white lines are.
Yeah, it's repeated white line cutting as well, isn't it, that owns you those penalties. It's not a tripping over it just on one occasion. So you do have a few in the bank before you get those penalties. So terrific amount of pace, but not able to operate between the white lines in the way that he would have wanted to. It's a shame for him. It's P3 on the road. It's the final lap of the race, and it's a race that all the way through has belonged to Oscar Piastri. He has been incredibly impressive all the way through. The Prema driver who won the Euro Cup in 2019 with 7 wins to his name. He's about to notch one here in the virtual Grand Prix, the virtual Formula 2 feature race, with the virtual Grand Prix to come and the Esports Pro event also to follow. But this will be a satisfying feeling, because it's taken a while for him to join the grid, but he has, and he has done so in complete style. It's very, very easy to make a mistake around those corners especially, but this has been really controlled, and not only that, really quick as well. Dominant performance being brought to a close, Matt.
With how perfectly he's driven, I'm pretty sure he'll be quite happy to see the end of Baku, with clearly the boot camp that he's been going through. 10 seconds to the rest of the field. He's dominated, pretty much hit every apex we've seen whilst riding on board with him. And as I say, very excited to see where he ends up in the reverse grid race. Can he overtake? Does he have the racecraft? He's on to the final straight to win an emphatic, we're having an emphatic victory for this 15-lap feature race.
absolutely superb from Oscar Piastri, and the Australian driver will bring it through the final real corner on the racetrack. He will see the checkered flag, and he is weaving across the line after absolutely dominating in Baku. Superb stuff as he nearly spins across the line. Oscar Piastri is the winner ahead of Lorim Zendelli, and you can see the German driver now cutting the beam to come home in P2. Another strong performance for him, but no one had an answer to Oscar Piastri today. Enzo Fittipaldi has taken another 5-second time penalty, and he is dropping down the order. So Arthur Leclerc in P3, Victor Martins in P4. And that was just a superb race all the way through from Oscar Piastri. He just completely dominated that one, Matt.
We didn't have a fight for the lead, but we had amazing stuff through the midfield. Jack Aitken still very much my highlight of the race. I don't know where he came from or where. Honestly, just the orange car just flew up the inside of two cars. I loved it. It was great. Hopefully, Oscar Piastri will be given a little bit more of a run for his money in the reverse grid race.
Well, with the form we've seen there, he will be hoping to do the double like we've seen before at this level of motorsport. So it'll be interesting to see if he can do that as well. And there's other drivers in that reverse grid, Matt, who are going to believe that they have a chance to come through in a way that they didn't in the feature race.
We didn't really speak about Arthur Leclerc too much. Well,
no.
Obviously, we said he was quite impressive over the course of the series, but in terms of actually that race, he wasn't exactly the fastest man on track. Of course, Guan Yu Zhou had the fastest lap on the super soft tyres, so I'm interested to see where Zhou ends up as well. We've got quite a few of the top names that we've seen before in the top 8, so this could get very, as I like to call a lot of things, spicy.
It's that sort of racetrack. There is plenty of entertainment to come, and we will confirm the previous race result for you in a few moments' time, and then we will get ready for the 5-lap sprint race, the final virtual race of the F2 year, before we have a little bit of a break, and then in Austria, along with Formula 1, Formula 2 returning for a brand new season with so many hugely rated drivers in the championship itself. We've got Mick Schumacher going for the title alongside the hugely rated Formula 3 champion from last year, Robert Schwartzman, and drivers that we've had in this field as well. Jack Aitken looking for a title challenge, along with Callum Ilott, along with Guan Yu Zhou. So much talent in the championship, and well worth your time. Those races usually straight after Formula 1 qualifying. Did you like the subtle plug, Matt?
I did.
Yeah.
Maybe not subtle.
Well, not at the end.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed all of that. That was so much information in one go. I loved it.
But we have one final virtual race to bring you. Who is your money on? Do you think we're going to see Oscar Piastri do the double here, or do you think we're going to see someone like Guan Yu Zhou continue that pace that we saw on the softer tyre towards the end?
We don't know enough about Piastri to know whether he has that racecraft in him. He's very much new to this series, as we've mentioned. So for me, I think Arthur Leclerc, I think he'll be starting around 4th or 5th position, looking very good. He's got the pace. Let's see if he can convert it into victory. So for me, I'd say Leclerc. What about you?
Oh, I think it's good. I honestly would not be surprised if Oscar Piastri came through this field and made it 2 from 2.
I'd love to see that.
It would be terrific entertainment. Let's confirm why I've gone for that sort of prediction, because he dominated that race by 10.6 seconds to win from Lorim Zendelli. Arthur Leclerc promoted to the podium. Victor Martins had the penalty, but Enzo Fittipaldi 13 seconds against his name to drop him down there, and then Guan Yu Zhou moving his way through the field with that alternate strategy, and you can see the Campos front row of Roberto Merri, and on reverse grid pole, a winner around here for the last couple of years, Jack Aitken, who will be attacking from the front. So not going for Jack Aitken there, letting your boy down.
No, I mean, I missed that he had a 5-second penalty. He's on pole now. So come on, Jack. I'd love to see that. I've no reason why. No, there's nothing on the side of the car that would lead me to believe that I want him to win. But no, it's going to be a great race. Jack Aitken, does he have the pace? It didn't seem like he had enough pace to really hold on.
Got the racecraft.
So he has the racecraft. He's won here before in real life. I'd love to see it. But with that slipstream, 5 laps, everyone's going to be sending it into turn 1. And I can't wait for it.
Yeah, the standards of driving are bound to plummet because they don't have very many laps to get on with it. So you're going to see lots of moves. Here come the lights for the final virtual F2 race of the year. 5 on, they go out, and we're racing with the orange Campos leading us from the front row, with Jack Aitken with a good getaway to maintain the lead ahead of his teammate. Immediately, Guan Yu Zhou on the attack and moving up to P2. There's a spin in the background there. That's Arthur Leclerc heading the wrong way. So disappointment for him. It's Aitken ahead of Zhou. Oh, it was for a second. The race leader spins round. He's not the only one. Wow, absolute carnage on the opening lap here. We knew we were going to see some bold moves. It's Roberto Merri in the lead, ahead of Ened Ahmed, and then Louis Delatraz, who spent so long at the back there in the previous race. He was momentarily up to P3. He's down to P4. Guan Yu Zhou just trying to hang in there for the moment, maintains third position. Here comes the Charouse trying to go through. Theo Pourchaire very, very nearly into the wall on the inside of the corner there. Merri, Ahmed, Delatraz, Zhou, Correa, Pourchaire, Viskel and Martins after chaos in the opening few corners.
Have they fit tyres that are just purely ice? Everybody is spinning, lighting up the rears. I think Jack Aitken spun on his own. I didn't see any contact, and he was pretty clear of the rest of the field going into turn 2, but so unfortunate for Jack to lose the car like that. But his teammate Roberto Merri, we haven't really seen him towards the front of the field in any of the races that we've seen him participate in, but right now P1 he's got Inam Ahmed behind just under a second, then Louis Delatraz, Guan Yu Zhou in P4. So now, I mean, it's thrown all the predictions out the window. Everybody we predicted that was going to do well isn't.
That was 2 minutes well spent, that, wasn't it?
Oscar Piastri is down in P11 behind Arthur Leclerc. God, that will be a pretty big mission for Oscar to get on the podium from there. Enzo Fittipaldi still hasn't learned his lesson as he gets a 2-second time penalty, but he's down in P15. We're not really going to have to monitor him for the victory here, but Roberto Merri actually clearing away a little bit, and crucially it looks like he's broken the slipstream at the moment as Ahmed goes defensive.
Louis Delatraz trying to move up to second position, the winner of the virtual race around Monaco. And will he get there ahead? He will. He'll slow it down nicely as well. That's well judged, looking for his second virtual win for this series of races that we've brought you in 2020. So Delatraz, Ahmed, and then Guan Yu Zhou. Juan Manuel Correa in P5, Bent Viscal, another driver making his debut at this event in P6, then Martins, Pourchaire and Aitken, who came through turn 2 in the lead, then spun it away to head down to 9th position. Arthur Leclerc was the driver heading backwards at turn number 1. Didn't even get through turn number 1 without heading in the wrong direction. He's got past the former race leader up to P9 at the moment.
I love reverse grid races, Alex. It just spices so many things up. You've got Roberto Merri, as I say, in the feature race, we didn't really see him at all. But here, he's clearing away from Louis Delatraz at the moment. 1.5 seconds, make that 1.3 as it just updates. As we come into the castle section with Inam Ahmed, 6 tenths behind. No DRS just yet, but the slipstream is powerful enough if you can just about stay with the car ahead. And Guan Yu Zhou was making his own circuit up there, using all the runoff and then potentially popping into the restaurant over there as well. But still in P4, 7 tenths behind a potential podium place.
So Roberto Merri, you sometimes see this in the real sprint race, where a driver who's had just an awful weekend, hasn't put it together, maybe tries an alternate strategy, gets to the reverse grid P8, and then suddenly, the next day, they look completely unbeatable. Now, that is usually over the course of one day. It's not over the course of 5 minutes. But whatever has happened to Roberto Merri, he's loving it at the moment. Louis Delatraz trying to close down the 1.3-second gap. We can check in with the Swiss racer at the moment with that wide screen setup that he's got for a perfect view of P2 at the moment. The only driver up the road, the one denying him victory, the former Formula 1 driver Roberto Merri. And can he hammer in to that lead? If he had a few more laps, I think he'd be fairly confident about that, but he's going to have to get on with it, so risks are going to be taken across the field. Guan Yu Zhou very much in the wheel tracks of Enam Ahmed, but Ahmed has that DRS to be able to defend. He's within the DRS zone of Louis Delatraz ahead, and that has kept Guan Yu Zhou behind.
But not anymore. Inam Ahmed just over a second behind Delatraz, and there was that small mental blow from Delatraz, who got the fastest lap, a little bit quicker than Roberto Merri. Just those sorts of things can settle into the mind of someone, especially who hasn't won in this F2 virtual series. And Roberto Merri, the gap is coming down. It is now 1 second. Louis Delatraz is tantalisingly close to the DRS detection zone, where he has to be within 1 second as we come towards the last sector into the castle section. Guan Yu Zhou, not as quick as I thought he was going to be. I thought he would have romped through the field from P4, but he seems like he's trying to hang on to the coattails of Ahmed, if anything. It's still 1.1 seconds from Delatraz to Merri, though, so Roberto just about hanging on. As soon as that DRS is open, we have a fight for the lead.
Can he do it? He would really need a magical final sector of the lap. As you can see, the live gap, 1.2 seconds. It's not what he needs right now. This is his teammate, Juan Manuel Correa, the American driver who we're checking in with. And another strong result. Last year, he was on the podium around here in P2 for the second race of the weekend. As we go back to Guan Yu Zhou, trying to get past and get on the podium here. He's in the wheel tracks of the carbon. And Ahmed is... Oh, they've come together and they're very lucky to still be pointing in the right direction. That could have been game over for Ahmed and Zhou. They have got away with it.
Ricardo Verstappen-esque, that, wasn't it?
It certainly was. And they'll be happy that the damage is not on. Otherwise, that would have been tears before bedtime for Ahmed and Zhou. But also, Zhou knows that he's running out of laps here. He's running out of corners to try and get past and onto the podium. He's been very impressive all the way through this campaign. With Formula 1 level, winning in Bahrain, Formula 2 level, winning at Spain.
He's made a mistake.
And Mary has allowed... Well, he's just opened the door a tiny bit.
It was 1.3 and it went immediately down to 9/10. I have a feeling there was a little bit of a spinning of the rear tyres in a part of the track where he didn't want it to be. It's now down to 8/10. This could get very interesting.
So a battle for third position, a battle for the lead. Seems about right for Baku. Delatraz will be trying to close in. This is where you really need to build up the speed. A rapid section considering how close the barriers are. And a big problem there. A spin, a mini spin off the corner, oversteering moment off the corner for Roberto Merri to invite Louis Delatraz closer and closer. And we haven't scripted it, I promise, but we do have a last lap battle for the lead around Baku. We've seen this before with Antonio Giovinazzi and Pierre Gasly. It was Giovinazzi who won that day. It's Roberto Merri versus Louis Delatraz as we go on to the final lap for the final race. You can see Delatraz closing in all the time, metre by metre by metre. Can he take the lead? Not this time, but he's got another DRS zone when he comes out of turn number 2. Merri so defensive. This gap was over a second a few moments ago. That's what P2 looks like at the moment. He's trying to stay with the Campos. He's going to get DRS. He's going to have a massive opportunity here to take the lead on the last lap. Can the Swiss driver do it? Merri goes defensive. Will he risk the long way round? Will he try it? No, he's been shown the advertising hoarding for the time being. This one's going to carry on going, Matt. And I think in the background, was that Guan Yu Zhou moving up to third position? Yes, it was.
Still so close between Zhou and Ahmed, and so close for the lead as well. Merri looks like he's overheated his tyres a little bit. Surely Delatraz isn't going to go for the switch back there. He's sliding. You could just see how sideways he was out of that chicane. But Merri holds on for now. But we still have one long back straight to go as well as this castle section is. Oh, please don't go side by side into there.
Don't do it into turn 8. Don't do it into turn 8. They haven't. But this is going to be about the exit. Roberto Merri has been on parts of the racetrack that he would not have been interested in at all. It's led to this gap, half a second, as we go over the line towards the very end of the race. Could it go side by side across the line? Surely Louis Delatraz has to risk everything. They both clobber the wall, but there's no damage on, so it's all about the exit. This is the final real corner on the racetrack. The rest is just fast sweepers.
Oh, this is going to be so
Can he
close.
get close? Roberto Merri in the lead. You're looking at the P2 driver. Can he close in? He's getting closer, but he's running out of road. Roberto Merri just needs to hang on, but can he hang on? Delatraz getting closer and closer and closer, and it looks like it's going to be a drag race to the line. Can he find a way through the lead? Side by side, who's going to get it? Louis Delatraz to P1. Louis Delatraz wins the race by beating Roberto Merri on the line, who spins. But Louis Delatraz closed down that half a second, and he puts his arms aloft at the bottom of your screen because he's won that drag race to the line to win the final F2 virtual race. Roberto Merri denied in the final meters, and it's Delatraz with his second win after winning in Monaco, but that was something extraordinary. Wow, what an ending to the final F2 virtual race of the year. Louis Delatraz is the winner. That was fantastic.
Absolutely breathtaking. Thank you so much to Alex James and to Matt Gallagher, and for you guys for watching. That is it for the F2 virtual races. Listen, for everybody being involved, thank you so much. We wish you the best of luck when you return to the tarmac. In the meantime, up next here from the Gfinity Arena, we'll have the Pro Exhibition, and then we'll have the Virtual Grand Prix. I tell you what, I need a lie down after that. In the meantime, stay safe and hope to see you again soon.